was part of the, I started out in Iwakuni and went from Iwakuni, did the, by the way, guys, we're sending you on, we're launching all the planes and got on an airplane. They didn't tell us where we were going and landed in Da Nang and didn't know that's where I was. And somebody jumped on the plane and said, "Hi, welcome to Da Nang."
How long did you serve in Nam Phi?
Well, I was in Da Nang. I was one of the first, I was with the first, because when the planes went, the plane captains went. So I went over on the first, when we sent the planes went on the mission, and I don't know how we got there. I guess we jumped on C-130 and landed on the runway over there. And then I stayed in Nam Phi for a bit. This was in the very beginning. There was nothing there. I mean, the stuff Dick was showing today was several months down the road. It was tense. We made sea rats in the flight line cooked it on jet fuel, and sometimes we just slept on the planes because it was cooler than trying to sleep in the dirt and the tents. And we had access to the flight line, which had a breeze. And I stayed there for a while. I went back to turnaround crew, which was interesting because it's you kind of gave up living in a tent for air conditioning, but the air conditioning came with rocket attacks. So, so what would happen, you saw today, they fly missions out of Nam Phi, do a mission, come into Da Nang. We got an ordnance team there, and we'd reload them and turn them around, recheck the planes, refuel them, and then launch them again and fly another mission. And so I stayed there for a while, and I don't have on top of my head how long that was. Plane captains, I don't know if you've talked to other ones, the flights are scheduled for the day. We're out first thing, pre-flying the planes, checking the plane out, making sure everything's signed off, ready to go. If we find anything else, we get that maintenance crew out to fix that thing, whether it's hydraulics, sheet metal, avionics, make sure the plane's fueled, make sure the tires are good, make sure every piece of that plane's ready and to go into the air. Pilots will come out, take a look at the maintenance logs. By then we'll know what type of operation they're going on for the day or night. We'll walk the plane with them, walk around, pre-flight the plane with them again, find anything that they want looked at. We'll get that shop out to take a look at it. They'll sign off on it, whether it's ready to go. If there's a problem, they may down the plane and have to repair it. We may move to another plane. Once everything's good to go, we get the pilot up, in the Rio up, get them in the seat. They'll get themselves in the seat, obviously. Yeah. We snap them in. We pull the pins for the ejection seats, show it to them, stow it away. By then we've got all the starting gear hooked up, electrical and air power to start up the engines. Get the engines fired up, unhook all the ground support equipment, go through a bunch of pre-check flights with the pilots, make sure all the ailerons and stabilizers, everything is looking good, ready to go. They go through their checks in the cockpit. They'll give us a thumbs up, and then we'll fire them up and send them off. And then in there too, we're working with ordnances out there doing their thing, getting all the ordnance loaded, and then we're the last one to see that pilot in that airplane buttoned up before they take off. Okay. And we're there, we're watching for them to come back. They'll usually do a flyover, or we'll see them land. We'll greet them at the fuel pits. They'll drive up. They'll stop, refuel the planes, send them in back in. And usually there's a pit crew out there, and then they'll send them into the other plane captains at the flight line. We get them parked, get the pilots, do the reverse, pin everything, do a post check of the plane. There's a lot of various maintenance things to do that we would do to the plane, kind of like when you finish driving your car on a long trip. And then repack the chutes, that's the drag chutes from the plane. tires, see if everything needs to be changed, and then if the pilots had noticed anything, they'd write up a maintenance request, and then we'd post, with the pilots in the Rio, and the plane would be done for the day. Last thing we'd do before, we would be up there next to, on the fuselage with them, and we would just pull the pin and either hand it to them or show it to them so they knew the pin was out, and then we tuck it down next to the seat.
Okay.
And most of the time they come back in, we put it back in, or they might put it in, but it's kind of hard to figure out where it was. It's in the seat up here.
Got it.
And, it's been a long time, so, But, if we crank up the plane and then something else is going wrong, or, might be some minor thing, maybe a piece of avionics gear, then we'd send for avionics to come out and get them up on the plane, see what they can fix it, to, not have to scrub the launches, if there was a hydraulic leak or something. Something we noticed, when we're checking all the flight controls and, dropping the flaps and moving the ailerons around, we're looking for hydraulic leaks, we're looking for any fuel leaks. If we see something, then, we'd get somebody out to take a look at it from that shop, whether it's hydraulics or avionics or ordnance or whoever. I left Nampong and it was tense and virtually nothing, and I came back and the Seabees had built, hooches and a mess hall, and they had showers. It was amazing, and it was only a matter of a few months. So then I was back in Nampong with that group after I left the turnaround crew, and I stayed there until just after the Bob Hope show, which was, I think, in December of 72, and I left. It was time for me to rotate back. So then I went back up, rotation through Iwakuni and back to the States. But being a plane captain is a great job. You are right there with the pilots before the mission, and they've got so much going on. And sometimes they don't come back. The crews, the plane captains, the guys in the shops, the ordnance crews. I mean, everybody had a job, and pilots. We were pretty close to the pilots. We were the last guy touching their plane before it flies off in the air, and they were. We got a lot of closeness to them, and felt that it was our job to make sure that plane was as safe as it could be when it left. I don't think I can, in my Marine career, which was only 4 years, it was, some people go in the Marine Corps, they don't do much. I can't say they don't do much, but, they spend a lot of time practicing, run up and down a hill here, run up and down hills there, get out and go on with their life. We went from peacetime to wartime overnight on the squadron. That was amazing, to do that, to end up in Da Nang, to end up in a base in the middle of Thailand that was used by some other people that really didn't disclose what planes they were on. And watch all that happen was just an event in life. It was amazing. It certainly made, when you talk about what you did in the Marine Corps, it's a lot more interesting than talking about, if you weren't really doing much. And to be part of a gun squadron, I just think it's the greatest thing. I was supposed to go on with Trip Trade on aircraft carrier, and at the last moment they changed my orders and sent me to Westpac, and I ended up in Iwakuni. I mean, that was within, was like, next month you go into the Mediterranean, and then it's like, oh, no, next month you go into Japan. So to end up in being a plane captain, if you're on an aircraft carrier, you're doing all the same jobs on the deck of an aircraft carrier. It's all, again, it's all cohesiveness. It's like watching a ballet.